What if I told you there's a deity that could scale your business, grow your wealth, and guide you to your highest path? And you could start working with him today. If you align with Jupiter, he will build your business and career, increase your wealth and protect your assets, and most importantly, guide you towards your highest path, placing each step directly in front of you. All you need to do is take the first step onto his path. And in this video, I'll be giving away everything you need to do this: the knowledge, the tools, and the timing. So if you stay until the end of this video, you will have everything you need to start building wealth through Jupiter. So let's jump right in. To begin our exploration of Jupiter, it's important to recognize that this is a masculine deity, associated with qualities such as resource generation, expansion, and the projection of energy. But what makes Jupiter really interesting is how he refines this masculine force through his primary attributes, which are wisdom, benevolence, abundance, expansion, and divine alignment. When you work with Jupiter, you'll constantly see all of these themes coming up. For example, he will bring you a situation that features expansion, such as a new client or a business deal, but it will first require you to embody or learn some fundamental wisdom or abundance principle. And one of the best examples I ever saw of this dynamic happened like this. I had some extra money and I wanted to send it to my family, so I waited until the day and hour of Jupiter to do this, because I knew that Jupiter is the ruler of charity. So I completed prayers and offerings to Jupiter, and then I sent the money. And straight after this, I had a sudden insight that I needed to reach out to a very specific person in my network, because that person would now be ready to work with me. So I reached out, booked the sales call, and the only time that we could align was the following Thursday, which is the day of Jupiter. And furthermore, the only time we could align on that day happened to take place in something called the Hour of Jupiter. So I took the call, closed the deal, which means I made the sale, and I'm still working with that client today. When I measured the amount of money that I sent to my family, at present day, I've now multiplied it 23 times through my working relationship with that one client. So think about this. That's an actual story from my life. It happened, and it's not unique because deities are real and so is magic. I love this example because it illustrates so many different aspects of Jupiter's magic at work. First, it shows how cultivating Jupiter traits like benevolence, generosity, and abundance create more wealth for everyone involved. I was able to personally 23x my donation so far, my family received that donation, and even the client has gained wealth because of us working together. So I took energy, I moved it through the deity of Jupiter using devotional magic, and then it came back out duplicated for everyone involved. That right there is actual real wealth magic. And furthermore, the example illustrates how timing and synchronicity are key factors in the universe when magic is at work. See, I didn't just move at any point in time. I waited until I knew that Jupiter would be accessible to make my donation. And then, interestingly enough, the only time that I could collect my reward would be 1 week later on the following day and hour of Jupiter when I had the sales call. This timing is not a coincidence. It's just basic cause and effect. There is a specific time window each week when Jupiter is most open for business, and that is going to be Thursday in the hour of Jupiter. This example also demonstrates how wisdom can create wealth, which is another Jupiter situation. Because after I gave my family the money, it was Jupiter's wisdom that shined through me, informing me to reach out to that specific person at that specific time. I love this part of the example because it really clearly explains something called invocation as a concept, which is where we draw divine knowledge and power around ourselves by aligning with a benevolent higher power. And you can also see divine alignment at work here as well, because Jupiter didn't just bring me some random client. He brought me a client who specifically needs the help that I can provide while embodying my highest purpose. It's like a divine business karmic connection. It doesn't matter which angle you use to look upon this situation. Jupiter's light is going to bounce off it and hit you directly in the eyes, because this was a magical unfoldment, planned, timed, and orchestrated by Jupiter during the day and hour of Jupiter. This example explains the nature of Jupiter better than any theory could, because he was actually present in this experience, leaving his divine fingerprints behind. So that's an example of what it's like to work with Jupiter. But how does working with Jupiter change you over time? Working with Jupiter is a constant process of expansion, and it's one that affects everywhere in your life. There is no area of life that won't be expanded by Jupiter's influence if you maintain a regular devotional practice. And after years of working with Jupiter every week, I can really speak to this dynamic because I've lived the exact transformation that ancient books speak about in relation to Jupiter. For example, my ability to attract wealth has expanded tremendously over the years when I've been working with Jupiter. And this is both from a magical attraction perspective, that is, meaning to manifest the perfect client at the perfect time, but also through my wisdom. My ability to just understand what sequence of actions I need to take to create wealth and personal evolution has become so clear to me since working with Jupiter that I find my only restriction is my ability to actually act upon that wisdom. The path is always clear. It just takes time and consistency to walk it day after day. Imagine a state of consciousness where you simply know what needs to be done, and most of the time know how to do it as well. Even when I was writing this video, the words would just fall in front of my fingers one by one, laying the perfect pathway for others to follow the same footsteps. The presence of Jupiter's wisdom within me has become so evident that it needs no additional explanation. It's something that's become a part of myself. Wisdom isn't something that I strive for. It's a default state of consciousness instilled in me by virtue of working so closely with Jupiter, who is a deity that embodies that higher divine virtue. I think that a pillar of wisdom is the ability to summarize complex concepts in simple ways, and that's really been my goal for this video. As much as many people would not want me to tell you this, working with Jupiter is not a difficult thing if you just understand a few core principles. People devote years of their life to studying knowledge and completing education that provides nowhere near the return on investment compared to the wisdom that I'm teaching you here. And I really hope that you can feel that truth inside of you, because if you do, you could switch your timeline right now to one that features an entirely new level of prosperity. And this isn't just some vague statement. You could literally do that by following the information that's shared in this video right here. And to give you the highest chance of success in doing that, I'm now going to be sharing some key principles that I've learned over the years while developing my relationship with Jupiter. But before we go any further, there's going to be a link below this video to join the free School of Wealth Magic. Inside of there, you're going to get instant access to the Jupiter Magic Guide, which is a free PDF that gives you the exact tools, timing, and step-by-step methods to start working with Jupiter. So if you're serious about expanding your wealth, aligning with opportunity, and stepping into your highest path, click the link below, join the school, and open the guide now, because we're about to explore the first principle, which is actually explained in even more detail inside the PDF. So if you could pull it up now, we could discuss this while you're looking at the PDF, and that would be really fantastic. Okay, so the number one principle when it comes to successfully working with Jupiter is correct timing. Jupiter is always going to be most responsive when approached on Thursdays during a specific window known as the Hour of Jupiter. Now, this hour of Jupiter changes based on your location and the time of the year, but don't worry, it's very easy to calculate. In the Jupiter Magic Guide, I'll be giving you clear instructions and a website that will automatically find the exact times for your location. It takes less than 30 seconds, and once you know how to do it, you will always be able to align with Jupiter's energy when it's at its strongest. But we also know that not everyone will be available all the time when that hour of Jupiter comes along. And because of that, I have personally invented a new method that will allow you to approach Jupiter any time you want. So there is no excuse for not getting this power on your side, because in just 1 week, you could start building a relationship with Jupiter and begin to experience the expansive, wealth-generating benefits that come with that. The second principle is that of consistency. Jupiter is generous, very generous, but he values those the most who show up with consistency. This is going to make him so much more likely to be generous with you. Building a relationship with Jupiter isn't about one grand magical working. It's a long-term relationship building process. The deeper your commitment, the more deeply he will invest into you. Think of it as a divine mentorship, the kind that builds empires, not overnight wins. It doesn't have to be elaborate. A weekly practice, some moments of gratitude, and a consistent offering, if this is done again and again with sincerity, it can actually change your life. Remember, Jupiter rewards loyalty, integrity, and long-term vision. So if you keep showing up, he will show up as well. It's never too late to start, but if you want the real benefits of this, you're going to have to be consistent. And believe me, it's a very small price to pay considering what you're going to get in return. And that's sort of part of the test, because if you want success, it always comes with effort. The third principle is to give prayers and offerings, not out of obligation, but out of respect. Jupiter is a divine king, and when you approach a king, you best not come empty-handed. Offerings create a channel, a two-way bridge between your world and his. This can be as simple as lighting some incense, offering some fruit or wine, or reciting a short prayer that acknowledges his nature, which is of course wisdom, abundance, benevolence, and truth. When you give sincerely, you send the message that you are open, present, and ready to receive Jupiter's blessings. And in return, Jupiter will notice you. He will begin weaving your name into his larger cosmic plans. And I promise, this isn't just poetic. This is how real magic works, and you can get real results by using these methods. The fourth principle for achieving success with Jupiter is cleanliness, not just physically, but also energetically. Jupiter is a very high vibrational force. He moves best through order, clarity, and reverence. So, before you approach him, tidy your space, wear clean clothes, and bring a sense of intentionality to the ritual. This doesn't need to be perfection, just a genuine effort to create a sacred container. Now, when I was actually building the Jupiter Magic Guide, I put my Asclepius energetic cleansing ritual in there specifically so that people could approach Jupiter from a very clean energetic state. So there are different things that we're doing here to make sure that you can really approach these deities with the highest level of success. The fifth principle is to understand the nature of Jupiter's business spirits. When you work with Jupiter, a lot of people expect to win the lottery or something like that, but that's just not actually how wealth magic works in practice. What actually happens is that you find yourself surrounded by groups of wise and intelligent business spirits. They will arrive with suits and briefcases, discussing financial projections, business strategies, and client acquisition methods. Depending on your level of psychic awareness, you might or might not see them, but they will be around. These spirits may visit you in dreams or whisper critical insights at the perfect moment of time. This isn't something for you to fear. Our world is filled with unseen intelligences, and these ones are here to help. It's better to have them around than not. The sixth principle is respect and humility, which are cornerstones of any productive divine relationship. Jupiter is wise, ancient, and vastly intelligent. He doesn't just see who you are, he sees who you could become if you aligned with your highest potential. So don't approach him with arrogance or entitlement. Don't demand and don't assume. Listen, learn, and be open. I can promise that if you come to Jupiter as a student, he will be receptive, he will be willing to be your teacher. And once you accept his guidance, you will find that his wisdom will echo through every area of your life, your business, your relationships, your health, and your personal power. Humility is not a weakness, it is a strength to receive wisdom from a deity. And Jupiter will give you more than you imagined, but only if you trust that he knows the way better than you do at your current point of evolution. The final principle is simple but important. Treat the space as sacred. When working with Jupiter, you are inviting in a powerful force of divine wisdom and benevolence, and the space that you choose to approach him in should reflect that. Begin by lighting a candle. This isn't just ceremonial, it serves as a beacon between the realms, anchoring the magical working and offering protection while the veil between the physical and astral planes is open. It's also a good practice to clear the space energetically before you begin. You can do this by burning some sage, some Palo Santo, or any preferred purifier. What this is going to do is remove any interference and ensure that the space is going to be prepared for Jupiter's high frequency light. Think of it as preparing a temple within your environment, a clean, intentional space through which a divine presence can easily descend. So you're going to light the candle, cleanse the space, and welcome Jupiter's influence. These small steps create a strong foundation so that Jupiter's gifts can land fully, safely, and clearly in your life. And also just a quick note for the beginner magicians out there, if you don't cleanse the space after the magical working, Jupiter might linger in that space, which can be good, but it really depends on where you're actually working that magic and whether you want that much power just sitting in the space. I can share some general rules of thumb here. So basically the way it works is that if the candle is still lit, Jupiter is going to be very present in that space. And that's okay, you might want that, but it's just that it's usually reserved for more advanced magicians who understand how to channel that energy. Although I will be sharing a basic tip later in this video, just so that you can use that with some effectiveness. And then from there, the next level of situation is if you've blown out the candle, but you haven't yet cleansed the space, that's the next step down. And Jupiter will still be in that space, but it's not going to be as full on as if Jupiter was really pushing his energy through the candle. And then the step below that is once the candle has been blown out and the space has been cleansed. At that point, Jupiter really isn't likely to be in the space anymore, so you can know that you've come back to a baseline energy. Okay, so those are my key principles for achieving success with Jupiter, and if you follow them, that's going to go a long way to building a relationship with Jupiter. So here in this final section, I'm going to discuss what you can actually expect during your first Jupiter workings. Things like what should you look for and what is it going to feel like. When I call Jupiter into a space, the first thing that I look for is a very pure, clean energy in my body and in the air. And note that I said feel, because it's not really so much a mental thing, it's actually more of a feeling. Feelings are an important part of magic because they inform us when the energy changes in a space, which it absolutely will do if you successfully call a deity into that space. So that's where it begins. Purity. Then comes what I call the shimmer, which is pretty typical of any deity, but is extra pronounced with Jupiter. So when a deity is in a space, the entire vibration of that space is going to increase dramatically, because the veil between the astral and physical realms is temporarily being held open by the deity's presence. And when this happens, a certain energetic shimmer fills the air. And what it feels like is sort of like a palpable tension, almost like the moment before a storm breaks out. Now, the type of that tension or that feeling is going to depend on which deity is present in that space. For example, there's going to be a very different type of tension if Venus is in a space versus if Jupiter is in a space. Like, they all have unique personalities, and we as humans know that because when you invite them into a space, it's very easy to feel their influence. So over time, we have just collected information, data, and experiences about what to look for. But regardless of which planetary deity you call into the space, it's going to be very clear that something powerful is present there, and that's why we prepare beforehand following the key principles that I just explained. From here, once the deity is in the space, there could be some powerful synchronicities or powerful insights, especially if you really clear your mind and meditate, but generally I will just wrap up and move on with my day. And this is a really important key point. This doesn't need to be a huge thing. And just because something dramatic doesn't happen every time doesn't mean that your magic wasn't a success. Sometimes there will be amazing synchronicities, like a lightning bolt striking across the sky the moment you say Jupiter's name. But also, plenty of times, absolutely nothing will happen, and that's sort of just part of the game with magic. You can't always expect the deity to put on a massive show. It's not even really respectful for us to want that from them. Sometimes they'll deliver it, but usually when you become non-attached to seeing those type of experiences. So just always remember, this is not a performance. We are not asking the deity to put on any kind of show for us. We are showing up, paying respects, giving thanks, and moving on with our day. Like I said, if you can approach it from that non-attached perspective, ironically, that is when you will see the most profound magical synchronicities manifesting in your reality. And this is really what mature magic looks like, and it's the type of magic that actually generates consistent results. This is a game of patience and consistent relationship building. The results will come when they come, at the perfect moment in time, because believe me, the deities know best when that moment is going to be. Okay, so because you stayed till the end of this video, I'm going to give you a secret tip that everyone who left early is going to miss out on. So after you've done a Jupiter working, if you really want to get some good results, get a group of smart people together and start working. Brainstorm, talk business strategy, discuss how you could build your wealth. The reason why this works is because all of those Jupiter spirits are still going to be pretty close to your field at this point. And so if you then start doing an activity which is ruled by Jupiter, such as activities that pertain to wealth creation and the searching for high wisdom, those spirits will instinctively get involved. They will start to brainstorm with you and will often deliver incredible insights to people in your team, even if they were not directly involved in the magical working. And this is actually a really useful insight to understand. When you work with magic, deities are pretty much at all points in time trying to deliver information to you. The thing that actually slows that process is our ability to connect with that information and receive it into our consciousness. And so over the years, what I've come to understand is that other people will very often act as receivers for magical wisdom, because I've really seen this so clearly in my life. I'll do some sort of magical working, and then someone will just walk up to me and deliver a very highly calibrated and tactical insight, which was obviously related to the magical working that I just performed. The amount that this will happen is pretty absurd, especially if you're hanging out with people who are actually tapped into their psychic channels. So yeah, this activity has become a favorite of mine. I've done it quite a bit in my life, and even I will approach this with intentionality. So I'll put a team meeting directly in that time period when I know Jupiter is going to be active, because I've just seen the results of it happening again and again. In my experience, it sort of acts as a type of rallying force that dramatically empowers the practical effectiveness of magic. So go ahead and give it a go. To summarize this video, living life without a connection to Jupiter is like choosing to play life on hard mode. There's just no strategic advantage to it. So why keep struggling when there is actually a better way? And we have built this better way for you. We have created the Jupiter Magic Guide, a powerful free resource that shows you exactly how and when to call Jupiter into your space with clear timing, step-by-step methods, and the right tools to help you align with this divine force. The guide is stored inside our free School of Wealth Magic, and you can access it right now by clicking the link below. It's free, it's practical, and it can actually change your life. So if you're ready to accelerate your success and align with your highest purpose, click the link, join the school, and start working with Jupiter today. I'll see you inside.